2025 was supposed to be this massive year for the UFC. We had a ton of hypothetical fights that were going to break the space-time continuum. We are approaching summer pretty rapidly here, and we're kind of yearning for some announcements from Uncle Dana. Here with my guy, Justin, we're going to tell you what's the likelihood of these fights happening. Obviously, a couple ones you probably know which ones we're talking about, maybe a couple more less known, but we'll start from the top, what you all want to hear. Justin, you've been saying that this fight was going to happen for a long time. Is Tom Aspinall versus John Jones happening in 2025? You could give me, I was going to say, a 1 to 10 scale. That's a little bit dumb, though. You could just tell me if it's going to happen, why or why not, and when.
Yes, I do believe it happens, and I think we get it late summer, early fall. I think we get Aspinall versus Jones. Too big of a fight for the UFC to miss out on. They missed out on the Ngannou fight. They're not going to miss out on this one. It's a win-win for them. Whoever wins this fight, I think, and if Aspinall wins, you have this new big heavyweight star. If John wins, he's the GOAT regardless if he loses, wins, whatever. But you have John end his career on such would be an unbelievable win to end his career. Yeah, I think that fight happens. I'd give that fight a 9 out of 10 of happening in 2025.
Really? 9 out of 10?
I may have spoken to some, people on the inside. I think the fight gets done. I can't drop names. I can tell you off the record, but I think the fight gets done.
All right. I'll take that. Yeah, I feel like I've changed my mind on this a million times, but I'm starting to believe. I think John obviously has a big ego, as anyone, not saying that as a negative. I feel like in order to be a great fighter, especially one of the greatest of all times, you probably have to have a pretty big ego. I feel like there's no running anymore. And not to say, obviously the ducking, all this, it's been fun kind of being able to make fun of John Jones. For me, at least, I know you love the guy for whatever reason. But it seems like he was being very vocal, I need to be well compensated. I need to get this life-changing money. I need to get money so where if I go out, I get knocked out in 5 seconds. I don't even care. That's how much I got paid. He was very vocal about that. And then he just stopped saying that. So it seems that the UFC is doing everything on their side to make this fight happening. And the numbers, we were hearing 30 million, 50 million, these numbers that won't happen, but or I don't know. Who knows how much he's going to get paid for this fight. But it seems like Dana is taking care of the money. They understand how big of a fight this is. And like you said, it's huge for so many reasons, but everyone with a brain says John's the GOAT. If you have, reasons that are outside the octagon for him not to be, whatever. But inside the cage, he's clearly the GOAT. If he wins this fight, you're putting him amongst, all different, athletes from other sports kind of on this. They're pushing to have him on more of a Mount Rushmore. Now he'll never get there because the UFC doesn't, compare to these other sports. But if he goes and beats Tom Aspinall to retire at 37 years old, it would be one of the most impressive wins in the history of the sport. The guy hasn't had a legit win since the first since what? What? I mean, how could what did I say that was wrong?
How is going in there and dusting Cyril Gane inside of 3 minutes?
Oh, that's right. See, dude, it's been so long, I forgot that happened. Okay, other than Cyril Gane, who, jeez. I mean, because Volkov didn't
But if Tom fought Stipe Miocic and went out and sparked him, you would say, "Oh man, this is the new age. This is."
What round did that happen?
John comes in.
What round did that happen?
Embarrasses Stipe. I don't care what age, the greatest heavyweight of all time.
Stipe embarrassed himself.
John made the guy not want to be in the fucking cage. Literally embarrassed him, broke him down, had him fucking fainting at every fucking thing.
I don't think it was John that made him not. I don't think he wanted to be in the cage anyway. Did you see the guy dead man walking? Bro, he could not have looked worse in that fight. I mean, and yes, it's so funny that if he fought Aspinall and it went into the second round, you would probably be using that as a huge negative because it would be John looked amazing and it was the fourth round, right? He finished him in
think
Give me a
so.
fucking break, dude.
Maybe the third. I don't know.
Okay, I agree with you. I'm going to go a little bit below. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I still think it's going to happen, but again, as it begins to worry me as we move on. But speaking of moving on, Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. We were just talking about this a lot. What is the likelihood that this fight happens in 2025? I'll say that. What do you think? You think this is a guarantee?
The only, I would say pretty much a guarantee. I mean, with Ilia vacating, like I said, the only way this fight doesn't happen is if Islam goes up to welterweight to fight for the belt, and that maybe ends up pushing this fight further because then they would do Charles versus Ilia for the interim. But yeah, I'm gonna say Ilia versus Islam gets done at an 8.5 out of 10. That fight gets done.
All right. What's prevent just if Islam moves up?
Yeah, I think if Islam isn't moving, I think if Bilal wins and that may whatever, I think we get Islam Ilia. I mean, I don't see how it doesn't happen. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think especially if we're saying for the rest, like I would
UFC
hope.
would be so dumb to waste the fucking juice on this fight right now. Like Ilya's a featherweight. Yeah, he might cut weight and this and that. He's going to be undersized against all these guys. So, like, he might be like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's an underdog against the top 3 lightweights. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that I don't think he can win. I think he can win in all the fights.
I think him and Charles would be a very close line. I think he would be a favorite against Arman probably.
I wouldn't put money on Ilia against Arman, or you can.
Well, that apparently they offer, because I don't know if this was true. You never know what's true because no one reports on this stuff. But it said Ilia turned down Sarukian. Like, bro, why would you, out of all you could do, Gaethje, like, which again is the most favorable matchup. I mean, oh my God, that's a very favorable matchup for Ilia. You could do Charles, which is more like Arman Sarukian is like the worst possible matchup for him. And like, why would you? I don't know. I don't know how you would possibly justify making that fight.
I think
Arman's not a big name at all.
No, exactly. It doesn't sell. But I do think the UFC is starting to get a little frustrated with Ilia, kind of.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, dude.
I think that's for sure. That's a sure thing that they're getting frustrated. I just hope, again, although they might be frustrated, they might not like how he's doing business, whatever. They might have wanted him to stay at featherweight regardless. He's bar none a top 5 superstar in the sport. So let's not waste it on, like, let's strike while the iron's hot, bro. The sport, we like do it. You know what I mean? It's a no-brainer.
Dude, that's why, yeah, it makes no sense. You never know what's going to
for that fight. Like, not just, it's because I think Ilia has a legitimate chance to put Islam out. Half these guys, I don't want to see Islam. No one wants to pay $90 to watch Islam fight Justin Gaethje. Yes, Justin's got a puncher's chance. I'm not paying for that. I want to see the best on the best. The dude that just knocked out the 2 best featherweights of all time. Like, dude, what are we doing here?
Dude, that's why, again, ever since we started like posting stuff, like you kind of pick and choose what you go back on, like to people. Dude, I got torn apart. And I didn't even think it was worth saying. I was like, oh, what's the holdup? Why are they not making Ilia Islam? And like everyone was like, the guy has obviously he needs to fight a contender first. He's just going to walk into lightweight and get the title fight. Like, what does what he did at 145 have to do with what he's going to do at 150? I've never been more confused than like that comment section. I was like, how does not unless you hate Ilia, which again, then, I mean, that's still very dumb, but like, it's the clearest fight you can make, dude. Like, I don't know. And everyone else, it's not like, unless they were like, all right, we're giving Arman another shot, which I would still argue that Ilia deserves it over Arman. Maybe that's crazy. But like, dude, Charles Oliveira, the guy they already fought. We already saw it. And Oliveira's only fought like, he fought he fucking beat Dariush, and then he loses to Arman, and then he beats the ghost of Michael Chandler. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't think he deserves that fight, but yeah, you said, what'd you say? 8.5.
Yeah.
I'll probably agree. Like, again, it seems a little bit less likely that it will be next, but by the end of the year, it should happen. So yeah, I'll go like I'll hit an An 8.24. An 8.24. That's a good score. All right. The big three coming into this year, again, those were top two. Hamzat Chimaev versus Dracus Duplessis. Another thing, we haven't really heard much from either of these silky smooth rhyming cats in a long time. This fight was so hot after Hamzat beat Robert Whittaker, after he smashed his jaw. I mean, everyone was like, okay, like, let's see this fight. And then in normal Hamzat fashion, he just disappears off the face of the earth, right? So, Justin, is that fight happening in 2025?
Yeah, I'll go 10 out of 10 that fight happens. Like I told you about a year ago, Hamzat, whether people like him, not, whatever, he's one of the mega stars in the sport. He has a huge following. He's ran through everyone they've put in front of him. He's clear-cut number one contender, and DDP even acknowledges that and wants to fight him, and I love that because I'm very excited for that fight. I think it's a no-brainer that fight happens. Whether it's in the U.S. or over in Abu Dhabi is the question that would be the question to ask, because I think that fight is without a doubt. I would put all my money on that fight happening this year. That's the next fight they have to make for sure.
Yeah, I think that if I had to guess, that would be the October Abu Dhabi card. Like, I don't. Again, I'm not sure what Hamzat's status is right now. It seems like he has a little bit of trouble crossing state lines, country lines, continent lines. What's the difference between a country and a continent? I don't know, but I don't think he could get in here. So, I mean, talk about imagine they just throw. If anyone could do it, though, it's Dracus Duplessis. If he would go over to Abu Dhabi screaming, things he probably shouldn't say, because that guy is a very good trash talker. I saw he just roasted Shara Bullet on Twitter the other day. Bullet was like, "Oh, I'm waiting for DDP to lose," and he just made a joke about how he can't see. Like, bro, I think Dracus Duplessis has completely changed his image with UFC fans. I love the guy. I'll give this. You never know with a 10 out of 10 to be booked. With Hamzat, it's probably more like an 8 out of 10 to actually happen. But yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 10 to be booked as well. Well, our first rematch, Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev 2. Will they fight again this year?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's, again, Pereira was just, he still is, but he was just coming off of being like arguably the hottest star in the sport the last year. So I think they run that back for sure. Does he win or not? I mean, I won't be picking him, but the UFC clearly wants this guy to win. They wanted him. They wanted him to win that fight. I'm surprised that they didn't give him the decision. To be honest with you, I'm shocked. Yeah. Although I thought Magomed won 4 rounds to 1, I think I wouldn't have been shocked if I was sitting there. I'm like, watch, they'll give a split decision win to Alex Pereira. Like, I'm shocked they didn't. But yeah, I think that fight happens for sure before 2026. What about you?
I don't know. I'm a little bit less confident just because I just watched. He just went on Helwani last week. Nothing but love and respect to my guy Plinio Cruz, Coach Cruz, a legend. But like, it always seems like there's a little bit of a gray area when he's translating. Like it always, because there was a little bit of confusion. Ankalaev said he was offered a rematch in August, I believe, and he said that Pereira has turned it down. He needs more time. And then they asked Pereira about it, and like Pereira and Cruz were saying like they weren't offered it yet. But then they did said like, oh, again, he didn't like directly. It's hard with the language barrier because he's like, oh, like this guy fought so much. Cruz was saying this. He's like, Alex fought so much last year. We're focusing on like recovering right now, like kind of an answer like that. And then Ariel was like, oh, so like when would be ideal if not August? And then he was like, no, August is good actually. Like we'll fight in August. So I don't know. It was a little bit sketchy. People are pushing for Yuri. I mean, that's where Yuri obviously does not deserve that fight, but I mean, I don't really care. I would like to see it.
In that division, there's nothing to do other than that.
Yeah, so who cares? Like, just give. So that's why, obviously, I'm not arguing that Pereira doesn't deserve a rematch. He clearly does, but like, maybe he sits out for a little bit, and maybe they do another fight first. So, I'm a little less confident about that happening this year.
Then maybe,
But
I mean, yeah, maybe they would go Ulberg, and then because if Ulberg wins, you get Pereira, you get Pereira in a kickboxing match, which he would win. So
if Olberg beats Ankalaev,
yeah, I'm just saying if he did, the UFC would love that. Alex,
yeah,
you got Ulberg, he ain't shooting for no takedowns. It's a kickboxing match.
that was gross though, dude.
Go win your
Olberg's
title
fight.
back. But even if they did that, everyone's just going to be like, look, everyone would want to see Ankalaev versus Pereira again anyway. So that it seems to me as if the Pereira camp doesn't want to fight Ankalaev, to be honest with you.
That's what I'm saying. I
And
think,
they never wanted to. What they may have said they did. They never wanted to. Everyone knew that this was his toughest fight. Like,
but it's the confusion with me is that like, bro, Ankalaev won. I don't want to get ripped on. I was on the front lines the days after saying like, clear Ankalaev won. If you say this is a robbery, you're a moron. I did rewatch it the other day. Those are some close rounds. 3 and 5 are very close. I'm still going to say Ankalaev won, but like, bro, Pereira, like, you have to go into a rematch way more confident. This guy can't take you down. Like, I think they realize that Ankalaev is a terrible, terrible matchup for him. He's way faster. Not to say Pereira's maybe lost a step, but like, again, I'm not going to hate on, the power is just otherworldly. All these guys are just going to stand it. Like Jamal Hill's not a world-class kickboxer, right? So like he got clipped, and then Yuri, same thing. Like Yuri just charged at him like a moron, and he got clipped. Like, and Khalil Roundtree lost to Jacoby. Like he's not some.
they did everything in their power for Pereira to win that fight. They said we've went over this, bro. He fought a southpaw striker. Like they did everything. They made the fight during Ramadan. They did everything they could to help Alex. He still loses. And not only does he lose, he didn't get dominated, but it was not an Alex Pereira style of fight. He either got hit with something early that scared him or something, because
Didn't do anything.
Ankalaev was the one hunting him down the entire fight.
Frozen like Elsa, dude. He did not do anything. Hopefully we get to see all these fights. I honestly think there's a chance we do see all these fights, but there we go. 2025 supposed to be the biggest year for the UFC. I still think it can be if we see all these guys, but that's not in our hands. Dana, we're calling you. Let's make it happen.
Dude, they have to make a big announcement soon. Seriously. They got to make a big announcement soon.